Hi everyone. Welcome. It was too nice of a day today not to venture back out on my porch, even if it's only temporary. Nice summer day in the middle of February. I did some yard work, which was good. I'm tired. I celebrated my birthday a couple days ago. I'm 43 years old now, guys. And I'm here in all my 43 years of glory. No makeup. So, hi, it's me. I was thinking that when I come across some local events, I've done this occasionally in the past, but I'm going to try to make a point of announcing these things when I do my porch talks, because I often announce them in my mayor's report during our city commission meetings, but not everybody watches those or attends those. Most people don't attend those. Most people don't watch them, but so just as another avenue or source for people to find out about these things. One, we have coming up on Thursday, March the 5th, from 6 to 8 p.m., is a town hall with our Hamilton County Commissioners. This is being hosted by Caleb and some other local civic organizations, and it's being hosted at the IBEW Hall at 3922 Volunteer Drive. They're going to be taking questions, hearing comments about things that are important to their constituents, so ahead of the upcoming budget season, which is going to be starting soon. And other things like that. And many of them are, if not all of them, are up for re-election this year. So very important that if you have an opportunity to go to this town hall, at least just to listen to what they have to say. I think it's really important. So I just wanted to share that. And then March the 1st is your last day to reserve trees through the Tennessee Environmental Council for Tennessee Tree Day, which is on March 21st. And they actually, this year, there's a pickup location here in Red Bank. It's at True Choice Realty. It's that really nice gray, it looks like a gray house across from the Citgo down along South Dayton Boulevard. It's 1937 Dayton Boulevard. They're hosting pickups that Friday and Saturday, the 20th and 21st, or 21st and 22nd. I can't remember, but anyway, I just wanted to put that on y'all's radar. And there's some things, some maybe not fully fleshed out information about how it's going to be maintained, but there is now a community fridge and larger pantry that has been installed at the Red Bank United Methodist Church, which is where we hold the Red Bank Community Food Pantry Distribution Days. Local-ish Eagle Scout did this for a project. So if you are in need, please know that that is there. If you have food to donate, there are donation guidelines posted. All right, jumping into the agenda. So we're going to get our monthly financial update from Ms. Pickle, which we're going to continue to see that, we're pretty well in line with where we're supposed to be in the budget year. But our property tax revenues are pretty low, as we expected, because we're getting almost $800,000 less than we had anticipated. So she's going to go over those numbers. Item number 2 is exciting. It is a presentation only, so if you're interested, it's just going to be during our work session. We're going to get a Stormwater Supervisor update on Stormwater Utility operations. So this is Lewis Brill, who we hired back in September, I believe. And so he's going to just go through what stormwater has looked like. He's got some data points and some charts, how many work orders they've been working off of, kind of future planning efforts around stormwater and capital investments we're going to have to make. So I'm very excited to see that presentation. And then item 3 is a status update and discussion of procedural condemnation proceedings. It's very legal, for a hearing date to be set by us, the city commission, with the city attorney regarding properties that are in a state of condemnation. This is some of these properties. This has been going on for years. A lot, this is really like a last resort, because, it's people's property. But it gets to a point where it's unsanitary. It's a danger to surrounding homes. And so all of the proper legal proceedings have occurred up to this point. We'll be discussing, there's 4 properties. One is 16 Ormond Road, 108 Freudenberg Lane, 114 Freudenberg Lane, and 3601 Reading Road. If you want, there are pictures and maps associated with those properties that have been uploaded to the agenda packet if you're interested in taking a look at those. And that, again, is just a discussion, so that will only be during our work session. All the rest of these items are on our consent agenda. So first, we'll be authorizing expenditures for enforcement actions to remediate hazardous conditions existing upon the property located at 1083 Dayton Boulevard. So this is a property, so this is basically the next step once like condemnation proceedings and things like the legal step. This is a property that's right outside of the Cherokee Tunnel, and there's a bunch of like lumber and debris that's been piled up there for a very long time. Don't quote me on this, because this has been going on for years, like years and years. It actually was taken to General Sessions Court, and there was a pronouncement made by the judge. The property owner was ordered to clear that debris, and that was almost 2 years ago, and that has not occurred. So at this point, what's this resolution is for us, the City Commission, to authorize expenditure of general fund dollars up to $15,000 to clear out the debris ourselves, and then put a lien on the property against the property owner and the property itself. So again, this is really absolute last resort. The property owner has just been unresponsive, has not followed through on what the judge told them to do. So we are doing it ourselves. That was also in the ruling by the judge, was that the city could take that on ourselves if it ultimately needed to be done, and then place the lien against the property. So that's what we'll be talking about with that. Item number 5 is authorizing additional fiscal year 26 funding for anticipated expenditures for the continued support of the CARTA Paratransit service. Basically, we did not budget enough. Ridership has gone up. More trips are being taken. We budgeted $30,000 for the year, and we are definitely going to exceed that. So this is to budget $50,000 additional dollars from the general fund to finish out this fiscal year. It's only right. We did commit to this for this fiscal year. This will definitely have to be a conversation for us moving forward for the next budget cycle, because the fees are going up, right? So that's something we have to have a conversation about. If that's something we want to continue supporting, it's a very needed service. It's just very expensive. So we're going to have that conversation. We'll likely have some of that conversation tomorrow when we talk about budgeting unbudgeted additional funds to cover service for the rest of the fiscal year. So tune in for that. Item number 6 is to ratify the emergency purchase of a transfer switch for fire station number 1 at the cost of $14,589. The switch for the emergency backup generator at fire station number 1 malfunctioned and went out. So if there was like a bad storm and the power went out, that generator would not be able to kick on, and our firefighters wouldn't have access to any of their emergency systems that they would need access to be able to serve our community. So that had to be bought. They did use ARPA funds for that, that were earmarked for facility improvements. So that's not coming out of the general fund, but that just means that there's other facility improvements that won't be able to be made because it's having to be spent on that switch, which is a necessity. Item number 7, authorizing the city to utilize GSA for cooperative purchasing. This is just, we have other cooperative purchasing agreements with Sourcewell and Omni and other agreements like that. GSA is a federal level purchasing cooperative. So we don't have access to any of those right now. We just use state purchasing co-ops. So this will be our first foray, but this is where a lot of governmental bodies get a lot of their items through that cooperative purchasing agreement because it's so prolific all over the country. Item number 8, authorization to apply to the AARP Community Challenge Grant Program for a no-match grant of up to $15,000. Jeffrey Graby, our Parks and Rec Manager, is wanting to apply for this for a proposal that he's calling Active Aging on the Trail, Age-Friendly Access at Godsey Ridge, which those trails are being worked on as we speak. Well, maybe not right now, but this grant, if we were to get this AARP grant, it would cover benches and rest areas along the beginner trail segment on Godsey Ridge. It would cover trailhead mobility and stretching zone with instructional signage. And it would pay for a guided walking initiative for older adults to get comfortable walking on trails, keeping their balance, feeling confident in themselves, that they could walk these trails on their own. So it's a no-match grant, like I said. So cross your fingers. Hope we get it. That would be really awesome to add those amenities to the trail system. Item number 9, authorization of an MOU with UTC for an academic class project at White Oak Park. This is a class specifically on trail building and design, and so they have asked to create this MOU with us so that they can go to the park, get ideas, like on the ground ideas for trail design and planning, potentially even like putting markers down to mark where our trail could go. And then this will be the finished product will be owned by both them and us, the city. So we could potentially implement any kind of new trail design at White Oak Park that made sense, that we had an opportunity, funding opportunity to implement in the future. But yeah, it's really cool just working with UTC class, letting them use one of our public spaces, and potentially they get something out of it, we may get something out of it. It's a win-win. And then item number 10, authorizing the city to request reinstatement of certified sick leave when a former employee is rehired. So that sounds weird to most people. I'm vested in the Tennessee Consolidated Retirement System because I worked for 2 state departments in the past. But when you're vested and you leave an agency that's vested, that works or is part of the TCRS, you have to give up your sick time, any sick time you have. And that gets put away basically in a little filing cabinet. And then when your retirement rolls around, they'll pull that back out and they add it to your years of service. But when you have somebody who's been with your agency and then has left and then comes back, they don't have access to that sick leave that rolled out and got stored away unless we vote on this policy. So if we have this policy in place, then that employee can then request that sick leave be given back to them. So we are doing that. There was recently, or semi-recently, there was a rehire of a former employee. So this came up, and I guess it just hadn't come up before, but we're just voting on the policy that allows that employee then to ask for that sick leave back from TCRS. And that's it for the regular meeting. That's it. That's a lot. And then we have a beer board meeting with 2 applicants, and they're just applying. It's Clever Ale House applying to vend beer at our Food Truck Fridays this year from April to June. And then the Breakfast Rotary Club applying to vend beer at the Jubilee in May and our Christmas Festival in December. So that's what those beer board hearings are. Yeah, there's a lot going on. Like I said, we've got a couple of presentations that are only going to be during the work session, so just make sure you come at 5 or tune in at 5 on the YouTube live stream if you are interested in hearing about those. Otherwise, that's it for me tonight. I guess I will go. If you don't go, nobody has questions, and I'll see y'all tomorrow at 5 for the work session and 6 for a regular meeting. Have a good night.